Hi guys, welcome to FS Studios Tutorial Worldwide. Today I will discuss about different way of sidechaining. So yeah, what sidechain do you want to use? For example, if I would use a compressor, I would get the coloration of the compressor. How we would want to sidechain my compressor would be through the threshold by having the ratio at 30:1. And on this compressor that is, for other compressor as high as possible. And I would select link to controller. I would select the peak here. You could also use the LFO and have a speed setting to it, so you know it's getting the musical note 4/4 or something like that. But we will use a peak controller. So we will use a kick as a signal and go to map formula and select inverted and accept. What will happen now is that inverted, it will be on 0 decibel, and when the signal comes, it will go down. So it will force the compressor to attenuate the volume, so the volume goes down when the kick hits. So just look for yourself. So the volume on the peak controller decides on how much threshold you want to how little threshold you want to your mix. For example, if I would have it full like I have now, it would go all the way down. But if we will make it lower, yeah, you can see the differences yourself. And the decay is the speed is occurring. By selecting viewers, I'm getting a slower release. So you can see it's not getting back full because it doesn't have the time for it. So we'll leave it as it is. So this is one way of sidechain. You can also use this peak controller. Right click on the volume to the sidechain here, the signal that's in here, the citrus. One love. Select a link to controller. I've removed this conflict so I don't get the peak controller from the compressor. I will select peak here. And what I want to do now is I will select inverted. I will change this to 0.8. What that is that it will be still inverted, but however, I don't want the signal to be up top. By selecting 80%, I can actually do the fault wrong way, so you will see what happened. Now I play. You see it goes back up at 5.6 decibels. You can see up here at the corner. You see it says 5.6 decibel plus. I don't want that. I don't like overriding things because I think it should be always as max as the volume is. And if I want it louder, I would rather use something else than this. So I will, by pressing 0.8, what will happen now is it means it's if 1 is 100%, 8 is 80%, and that's exactly what is correct level. So if I'm stopped now, you will see it goes back to 80%, so it stops perfectly. So you don't need to change anything on the bass, but what the bass is, it changes on, you know, where the start point is, so you can actually, you know, you see like that. But it's much easier by selecting 0.8 in the inverted instead of 1, so you get the full control you want and you will have it upside. If you want to make lower volumes, just use the bass to control the volumes afterwards, but you will have the correct volumes from the beginning. Tension, you will see it's just multiplying itself, crazy shit. Yes. Let's move on to the next thing. So if you don't like to sidechain with this way, it's okay. But the cool way about having a peak controller, you can use other compressors that is not with FL Studio. So you can use the different colorations and stuff that are not used as normal for a sidechaining tool. But it's possible this way. So yeah, let's move on to the limiter. What I need to do now is, this track here doesn't have something chained to it at the moment. So what I will do now is select here or right click at the point down here, and you say sidechain to this track, and you see 0 volume. If I'm opening it up, I will say to it to also get volume from the kick on this one, but lowering the volume here, I still have it linked to that mixer track, but it feels the signal from the ordinary volume, but however it will not be audible. So you can use this for sidechaining and having other plugins, for example like the Fruity limiter. So this one is loved by many. So I will select the threshold as soon as you see here. When I'm taking the threshold, you will see a new thing. You see the light blue behind? That's the kick. So you can select on how, you know, how narrow or how wide, how much you want it to attune it and how long. So now I will select Radio Max here. And you can use the gain button here to make up for lost volumes, but try to make the volumes good before using the gain to have maximum audio quality before using anything like that. So don't use too much threshold. The kick has a long release here, so it's not getting at the bottom. So I would like to change that. I go here to the mixer. I will shorten the tail of the kick a bit. You see, I can go much longer down now with the threshold. And I can use the release here to select how fast it should go back up. And you see the white thing here, it means it's getting distortion. And that's what's something we don't like. So by adding curves here, you get less distortion. So by adding, you see I'm releasing faster, but it's getting distortion, and I add curve. It's the distortion, so I need to open up a bit. I can also use the threshold here, and it's getting better and better. This is how you can work your way, and you can also try to make this tighter. And attack means when the sidechaining will start, so you can actually delay it a bit, but that's not cool. But that's one way you can use limitering. And yeah, I will show you another way than using the limiter. For example, I do the same thing. Remember, right click, sidechain to this track. I will delete the old ones, and now guys, I have the yeah, I thought I had a ghost producer inside, but it was only my cat scaring the hell out of me. Yeah, back to this. So I have FabFilter Pro C in front of me. It's a compressor from FabFilter. It's amazing, guys. What these things allows you to do is like sidechain the mid and side separately, which is fucking awesome, but I'm gonna go through that. A lot of people love Fruity limiter, but that's not the only way. So I will go in here. What you do is press up here. You can see the name. It's right to the arrow down here. You press that. Now you get to the settings of your VST. This is the wrapper setting is called. And here you can change whatever you need to change. In this case, we need to go to the processing. And down here you see different inputs and outputs. I want the sidechain. Yes, so I will select the sidechain here instead, like we did in the limiter. I can show you it's the same thing, okay guys? So I will go to the compressor and I will use the sidechain here. It's a sidechain by pressing on the compressor. It's the same thing. It means that I get the signal from the kick, which is awesome, which allows me to do this kind of thing. So I'll go back down here. I will press expert mode, And here I have something called sidechain. Internal means it's using the original source, but I don't want that. I want the external source, you know, the sidechain options. So I press external. And we have left and right also, so we can manipulate them and have different volumes and sidechaining to apply to it. And here is for mid and side. So here you have the mid and here you have the side, and you can mix things so you get cool things, guys. So, but I will not use that. I will just use as little threshold as possible and as max ratio as possible. This has a ratio of 100, which is like a limiter. And I will select the knee to be sharp, so it's really sounding digital. But if you want more analog sound, you can change that here. You can see, you see the shape here is different. It's changing, so it's sounding different. You see, this is more like the volume automations is sound sharper, but this will, you hear the is in the end. I don't like that, so for this sound I actually like the knee will less, is getting less sharper, but you can actually fix this with attack and release, because that will also fix things. And here you have the dry mix. It's, yeah, dry. Yeah, so you can add the dry signal to it, which was before it had any sidechain to it or compression. So it's pretty cool tool, this compressor. Yeah, sorry, Fab Filter, they are amazing to be able to do this. What mid and side is, mid is the complete signal from left and right speakers. It's what you hear in mono, okay? What side is only the stereo signal. So that pretty much explains it. So side like stereo and mid like mono. So yeah, that's it. So you can actually make those separate. Let's go on, cause boring. I will not use that. I will still use the parametric EQ. So why parametric EQ? What this is, I can actually assign a specific frequency band or a band or with shape I have chosen it to be, and actually sidechain that. So I will do that. So by pressing here and having my P controller, I will use this. But as you see, middle here is 50%, because in middle I want to use this band because I only want to sidechain the lows, which could be pretty cool. So I just by mistake created an automation clip. I will delete that. So I will right click here, link to controller, and I will select the peak. And as before, I need to select inverted. But remember, instead of 1, we want a 50%, and that will be 0.5. Remember, press accept and check here. Yeah, only the, if I would take it on the whole band, it's not hearable, but let's do this. So by using this way, you can actually, for example, you have this fat synth and you don't want to take away everything in the synth, or if you have a vocal and sidechaining it. This trick is cool to actually still have the fatness of the synth, but tricking the ear that the vocal takes bigger place than it is, because you're attenuating the volumes on the specific bands where the vocal has its place. Okay, that's explained. Now let's move on to gross beat. Gross beat is like a volume automation, which is pretty cool. It has this direct signal to it. It's not like using a compressor sidechain. It doesn't sound as authentic, but it has this virtual sound, and itself can be used for sound design. For example, using 2 layered synths and having the one with biggest bass sidechain, so it's like pumping effect, or you could use it just because you want that virtual sound. It doesn't sound at all as analog as it on a compressor would do, but you can actually, for example, do the form shape how you want. So this is a cool trick, so you can draw how you want. I obtain sidechain from here. You can just select an empty and draw yourself one. So I will activate this. If you would want to, shorten things up, it's possible. And here you can apply how much sidechaining going on, or like in the P controller, tension. You hear the differences what it does. So I will not talk about that. Let's move on. If you want something really easy, you just use Kickstart, which is designed by Nico Romero's famous sidechaining, how he sidechain his things. He does, I don't think he uses or whatever, I don't know. But however, the cool thing is, it's still pretty good. It has a pre-made shape. It's like the gross bit here, like you draw, But it's pre-drawn, so you don't have to do anything. Just use the different sidechains. So I will activate this. As you hear, it sounds a little bit different, and you can use different presets on depending how much sidechain you want and how tight you want the sound to be against the kick or the vocal. It's not that good for vocals because it has a fixed numbers. So if you want to use this for vocals, good luck. Whatever, it doesn't suit that. So I would still use, as many people say, don't use the P control. Well, it can be used if you know how to use it, and if you want to use something different. Never listen to people say what you should do. Use what you need to do. And remember, by using volume automation, it sounds forced in some way because it sounds digital and it sounds like one thing you can do is right click and create automation clip and do all this manually, which would be horrible, and I would hate that. Yeah, I hope you got some ideas on how you can sidechain differently, and yeah, see you guys. Have a great week.